Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be requesting another four-figure PropFirm payout with funding pips. So we're going to be withdrawing with this two-step master account. And my payment method is obviously we are going to be using crypto. So we're going to be refunding with a reward, meaning we are going to be refunding with the amount of money that we use to buy this challenge. And what does this mean? You will get a refund with funding pips, not every single time you pass, but from your fourth payout. So if I'm eligible to get a refund now, that actually does mean that this is my fourth PropFirm payout with this singular account. So hey guys, we are currently having consistency here. Very, very good. So I'm going to input down this entire funds. So we are going to be bringing home over 1.4K. And what's kind of sad about this whole thing as well is I know you are receiving over 1.4K, 1477 to be exact, but what you really receive in your crypto wallet is not this. You're going to be having fees to pay, which is, pretty much gas fees. And I'll show you guys this later on. So we're going to be pressing request reward and bang. Okay, the reward is currently requested and I'll be back later on once we already processed it.
So many questions, who do I ask? Where do I go from here? What are you smoking? Ain't no average girl, my one top tier.
So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have now received our payout. So if we can just go here on full face mode, take a look right here. You can see from Binance itself, $1,570 payout, and you can see funding pips. We did receive it today, and it's very, very fast. Honestly, I would even say it's 24 hours because the reason why I say it's not 24 hours is we requested this yesterday at 10 p.m. and currently it's 4:26 p.m. A bonus for everybody is I'm going to be doing my market outlook specifically for Bitcoin. And if you guys don't know, I trade gold. Where you guys saw my payout, that is pretty much the outcome of me trading gold. And before that, if you guys want to be knowing the outlook beforehand, I really do post it on Twitter. And from one of the outlooks, you can actually take a look that I did call Bitcoin on October 27 that we are going to be having a drop all the way down to 85K. And it is all coming from the system that I use, the same system that I show you guys with my live trades inside a weekly webinar. If you guys don't know what that is, join the free Discord link in the bio and you can take a look over here, guys. I've been calling Bitcoin down to 85K when everybody was still very, very bullish. I knew it was gonna happen. Okay, let's try to take a look over here real quick, right? You can actually see over here I said, guys, the thesis is still standing. And let's jump to BTC USDT. And where did we pretty much drop, guys? We dropped all the way down to the key level that I marked because it was really bound to happen. And you can see it dropped down to 87K. It dropped exactly into my level right here. And it was already bound to happen. A lot of people in crypto Twitter was screaming euphoric buy, but technical analysis is telling you to sell for Bitcoin. And what can I share you guys regarding on my outlook for Bitcoin? So my current outlook for Bitcoin is specifically this one. I know that we are in a very logical area where Bitcoin can potentially bounce from. And I know that this level might have some reaction. But what I truly believe is I don't think that we are going to be having a really big rally to the upside over here. And the reason why I specifically say that is if we're going to be following based on data, something that's been working in the past, it is a 4-year cycle. And the 4-year cycle pretty much stopped around October, okay? October this year. And from that alone, we did see this big drop. Now, I know a lot of people are telling me that it might be a super cycle for this run, but hear me out, guys. Everybody has been saying the same thing in the last cycle as well and the previous past cycles. And the reason why I'm saying that, because I was there when everybody was screaming super cycle back in 2021 to 2022. I want you guys to look into this one right here. Someone is always screaming super cycle in every cycle. So for example, the first cycle right here, one guy screamed super cycle. Did not happen. 4-year cycle still stands. Another guy screamed super cycle. In the next cycle, for example, next bull run, it did not happen again. But suddenly, he called it again in the next bullish cycle. And then he called it again in the next bull cycle. And then it played out. And he starts posting everybody in Twitter and telling everybody in Twitter that he's been calling super cycle and he was right. Well, remember, guys, a broken clock is correct twice a day. Okay? Correct twice a day. Would you rather believe onto this one by hoping every single cycle that there might be a super cycle? Or would you rather believe on something that has been showing the past few cycles already, which we did see, which was the 4-year cycle. The 4-year cycle happened, the last cycle, the previous cycles, we did see 4-year cycles as well. And pretty much the market is giving us hints. The 4-year cycle is already done around October. And what did happen in October? You guys can take a look for yourself that we did have a drop in price. So what does this mean for us? Okay, I know a lot of people might view this push to the upside as a euphoric push to the upside, right? There might be chances for Bitcoin to hit 150K this cycle. One thing I gotta tell you guys, okay? If it's in a bear market, if ever, and I know this might be the start of the bear market, if the market is pushing to the upside, I highly believe that that's just merely a pullback before the bigger drop to the downside. And I know that there's a good chance we might be hitting around 100K again. And this 100K levels can be a pullback zone, topping potentially around this area again for another big sell potentially. But I'm very, very optimistic that we might see 100K potentially soon. If this one will fail to flip, if we don't flip over 90K, especially this level right here on 92K, if we don't flip on 92K, then we might be seeing Bitcoin push further to the downside. And the reason why I'm specifically saying this, okay, is I want you guys to understand on what happened into the previous cycle. So if we're going to be jumping into Bitcoin, BTC, USDT here in Bitstamp, you can take a look. I really remember this vividly, is back then, okay, back then right here, a lot of people was very euphoric once we saw this. So back in 12 April 2021, once we saw Bitcoin breaking all the way down to the downside and it tapped to this very, very support zone, once we had this, I want you to imagine as if it was happening. It was like this. A lot of people were saying, guys, euphoric again, we're going to be pushing Bitcoin above 70K, right? But what happened next was a big series of red candles. What does that mean? That means a lot of people were getting trapped out. A lot of people was very, very optimistic that this might be the next push to the upside. So they were putting in a lot of their bags, maybe a lot of leverage longs over here. And once they got hit on stop losses, a big cataclysm occurred, pushing prices to the downside, which you did see a lot of momentum to the downside over here. For me, I highly believe that this is pretty much showing the same thing. And if we try to follow onto current market price, what do you guys see? Another potential zone of support where people might be euphoric and we might just even see a bigger push to the downside. Now, what does this mean for you guys, for long-term holders? Does that mean it's bearish for Bitcoin? Overall, especially myself, I believe in crypto in the future. I believe in Bitcoin in the future. So what does this mean? I am still holding my Bitcoin. I'm never selling my Bitcoin. But why am I specifically looking into this Bitcoin chart and believing that it's bearish if I'm still bullish long term? Well, for me, so that I can buy on much cheaper prices. I don't want to be buying Bitcoin at 80K, guys. I really believe we might be dipping potentially down around these levels. We'll see about that. But if we reach down to these levels again, I'm going to be buying more Bitcoin and more Ethereum. And the reason why I say that I also look at the Bitcoin chart a lot because it can also be an emphasis and as an extra confluence on what I think altcoins are going to do. I sold most of my Solana already around 180 or 190. So I did sell a lot of my Solana around this area right here, around 200, 180. And because the reason why I sold, because it was giving signs. It was giving the same signs as Bitcoin. And it tried to pump so many times, guys, but it just kept on failing. And you can see on March right here on the weekly chart, we created break to the downside with a candle closure in the weekly, by the way. That's a weekly break. So this push to the upside, potentially, is just going to be a big pullback before the big push to the downside. And what does this mean, guys? I'm going to be buying Solana on much cheaper prices. Yes, I was very optimistic and I was hopeful to see $500 Solana, but unfortunately, we're not getting that in this cycle. And that's okay, because if Bitcoin is dumping and let's say altcoins are going to be dumping, there's a perfect opportunity for you guys to be buying in again. And when I say the perfect opportunity, I don't mean that you want to be buying as much right now. Personally, myself, you might dollar cost average, but I want to start DCing a little bit further because I don't think this is the lowest we can go. But if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But like I said, guys, I'm only following what the 4-year cycle is basically doing. And by the way, guys, if you want to be joining my weekly webinar, I do host free weekly webinars. Join the free Discord link in the bio. Follow my Twitter as well. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.